The Saturday Morning Snap is a one-stop fantasy shop, bringing weekly news and advice in under an hour. I'm Mackenzie Tout, joined by Landon Monula. Welcome to the podcast. We are back in a somewhat big way today. Welcome into the Saturday Morning Snap Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Mackenzie, and I'm joined by my longtime friend and pretty good co-host, Landon. How you doing today, my friend?
I am excellent. My mother is actually in town visiting,
Your mama.
My mama. I can't wait to spend the day with her. It's been a while. It's my first time away from home, ladies and gents.
Wow, look at you growing up.
She missed me very much, and we're going to go visit around the area, going to Elora. Elora is a really cute little quaint town. Last time I went in October, it was all completely decked out in Halloween paraphernalia, and now I'm sure it'll be Christmas. We just got a little bit of a dump of snow, so it should be a nice little afternoon. How about you, Mac? How is your Saturday morning going?
Yeah, it's one of the nicer Saturday mornings we've had in a while. It's been pretty dark, dreary, getting a little depressing up here in Canada with the snow coming, but you know, it's a nice day for fantasy. Looking forward to this week. Week 11 brings some big challenges and lots of opportunities for some teams. So I'm excited to talk about that. It's go ahead.
Sorry, did you watch that James Corden and Migos carpool karaoke?
No.
Oh man, it's funny.
I don't like that. I can't stand those guys.
Migos, I mean, you know what they're about. They just like random just noises.
Yeah.
They're like, yup. and he goes like, mama. And like it's actually pretty funny. Even if you don't like Migos, they have like $200,000 in like $50 bills with them, and they go and like deck out James Corden, and it's pretty funny. I think you
just
like
for you, I'll give it a watch, but it does not sound like I'll enjoy it.
What are your plans for today, my man?
Sister's baby shower. Gonna head out there. And packing. We move in about 2 weeks, so we got lots of stuff to do. But without further ado, it is Saturday, November 17th. This is episode 33 of the Saturday Morning Snap Fantasy Football Podcast. Today we're talking about the Week 11 matchups, a couple features at the 1 o'clock, 4:25, and 8:20 schedules. We got our starts of the week as usual, and then we're ending the day with the much requested DraftKings Live Showdown, where I'm going to continue to slaughter Landon as our self-proclaimed DFS expert. Landon is going to go down once again to the noob that I am. So
I really hope you don't use all the wily vets against me.
The veteran apologist, that's me. So listen, we're going to kick things off today with a daily question, and right. I'm going to throw this one at you. No preparation. Which of these rookies would you rather have in your lineup rest of season? Courtland Sutton of the Denver Broncos, DJ Moore of the Carolina Panthers, or Calvin Ridley of the Atlanta Falcons? Hit it.
I am going with Courtland Sutton.
Ooh.
I will talk about him later. We all were hyped up about Courtland Sutton before his bye week, getting the opportunity since Demaryius Thomas left.
Yeah.
And he was a big letdown. It was Jeff Heuerman who got the increased targets and receptions, but I am projecting this week to be a bounce back week. Everyone's not going to play him this week in their DFS lineups where they did a couple of weeks ago, and I think they used the bye week to get him more integrated in the offense. He's going to be the future of the Denver Broncos, and I think they're going to show him that rest of season.
Poor Jeff Heuerman, though. I don't even know how you say his last name. I've heard Heuerman. Yeah. Like, it's just this poor guy. He better make something of himself so we can actually get this thing right, because right now his name is a travesty.
I don't think I've watched a single Denver game that he's got a reception, so I haven't heard an announcer pronounce his name. I've just heard fantasy guys talk about him, and yeah, you're right. It's all over the map.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna go Cortland Sutton on this one. I think
I don't blame you. You know I'm the Cortland Sutton truther in this.
Yeah, I know.
Podcast.
Before the season, I was big on DJ Moore.
Yeah,
I thought that there was a really good chance that he could lead this team in receptions, have a bigger impact than he's had. It just hasn't come to fruition at the moment. Things could change in the last couple weeks of the season, and he could be a bigger name for next year. But I think Calvin Ridley is the guy that I'm gonna put my chips on. I did at the beginning of the season in our Dynasty rookie draft, and I think I'm gonna keep them there for the rest of the season.
Now, why do you go for Calvin Ridley? I mean, I think the biggest thing that helps him out is the number of attempts that Matt Ryan's in MVP mode. He's absolutely killing it. So,
and that's kind of where I'm going. I look at the other two guys. Athletically, I think if you had to compare all three of them, Cortland Sutton is by far the better athlete. But situation, Calvin Ridley is in a situation where Matt Ryan, like you said, is just slinging the thing all over the field. And yes, a large percentage of the receptions go to Julio Jones. But Calvin Ridley has shown he's no slouch, and in an offense that likes to pass the ball, I'd much rather have him over a run adverse offense in Carolina. You got Christian McCaffrey taking a lot of that work on the ground through the air. Cam Newton likes to keep the ball himself, and then Cortland Sutton, albeit he is one of the only targets, him and Demaryius now, so he's got a bigger workload. But Case Keenum's been struggling this year, and so I think I'm going to put my chips on the better offense, Calvin Ridley.
Let's get on with the news and notes of the week.
So Jimmy Graham has broken his thumb in the Thursday night game. We are still waiting on a recovery time for him, so we're unclear as to how long, but he hasn't really been too great for you, and I think this injury is just like, quote unquote, the cherry on top of a very underwhelming season for Graham in a Packers offense where we thought, or I at least thought, that he could be something special. I'll give you credit. You sort of said, I don't see the same thing you do. Jimmy Graham never really blossomed, but it is what it is, and that could partly be due to Mike McCarthy's, his fault. There's been some rustling in the bushes that Mike McCarthy might not be back after this season, and he's likely to be replaced by somebody else. So for me, as the resident Packers fan, I actually do like this move. I think we do need a change. We were talking about this yesterday in the car, and you said, what do you make of this news? What do you think about it as a Packers fan? I said, I actually like it, and you were surprised. And I said, last year, McCarthy got a pass. Aaron Rodgers goes down in week 5. They were off to a great start. They were 3-1 going into week 5. He goes down. They get to 3-2. Could have been 4-1, but season's gone. And I think you would give any decent coach a pass if they lost a guy like that. So give him a pass last year. You go back a year before that, Aaron Rodgers had to run the table. I think they won the last 7 games of the season, had to run the table to make the playoffs. And had Aaron Rodgers not saved Mike McCarthy's behind, Mike McCarthy might have been out of the door last year. So I think he got a pass and then got saved by Aaron Rodgers in 2016. So this is probably time for Mike McCarthy to move on. And you made a good point. When you look at the Matt Nagy's and Sean McVays of the world, where creativity, innovation is at the forefront of their coaching philosophies, Mike McCarthy really hasn't evolved, and it's showing. This team has no excuse to be under 500, and yet here they are, 4-5-1. It's heartbreaking.
And what was it that the GOAT Tom Brady said in an interview?
Tom Brady said that if Aaron Rodgers played in the Patriots system, he would throw for 7,000 yards a season. Now that might be exaggerated, but those were his words verbatim. Aaron Rodgers is so much better than me in our system. He would throw for 7,000 yards a season.
Yeah, and we talked about system quarterbacks and elite talents the other day. And Tom Brady is very much a product of the system in New England. Don't get me wrong; he's a great quarterback. He's won a ton of Super Bowls. He makes it to the 5 Super Bowls, and he's lost in 4 of them, I think. And but he's a guy that he takes advantage of what Belichick, the creativity of it. Their team is good. Like what we've seen is that it doesn't matter if you're the best quarterback in the league, you can't make it to the Super Bowl based on that, i.e. Aaron Rodgers. But there's quarterbacks like Jared Goff who are taking advantage of the system they are in. They're making the throws. They are good. Jared Goff is great and he's good for fantasy. But in a different system, he's not going to be that guy. And just like Alex Smith last year in Kansas City, he was the number 1 quarterback in the NFL through several weeks because of the system that Andy Reid had out. And you see that in Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes is great. He has an absolute cannon of an arm.
Well, Pat Mahomes is like the perfect the perfect mix of a really highly talented guy in a good system that fits his game, right? It's like two things come together. Storm. It's like, yeah, exactly. Right.
You're right. So there's definitely a mix of that. And it's hard to distinguish the two sometimes. So long story short, I can't wait to see, hopefully the offensive coordinator that comes in Green Bay is innovative, young. Maybe they just let Aaron Rodgers call the plays.
Just let him call the plays like he did in 2016. We'll be all right.
Let's be creative. Let's be innovative. Let's get some talent on that team. They have Aaron Jones, who's an absolute stud, and they're getting him involved now. And yeah, I'm excited for the future of the Packers. I just don't know if it's going to be this year.
Okay. Chargers wide receiver Keenan Allen was left off the Week 11 injury report. He's been great news. He's been dealing with nagging hip and finger issues. So we do expect that he will play against Denver. I'm excited for him to play this week. He's, we'll call him kind of like Antonio Brown was early in the year, the squeaky wheel. And I expect that squeaky wheel is going to get that grease.
Who do you have ranked higher, Keenan Allen or Stephon Diggs?
Keenan Allen.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. Diggs has a little bit of a tough matchup against Chicago this week.
Yeah. One guy I don't have ranked too high is Marvin Jones Jr. Right. Where's he in your rankings this week, Landon?
He is not in my rankings this week, Mackenzie.
Because he has been ruled out with a knee injury. So Marvin Jones will not be playing this week against the Carolina Panthers.
I don't think that's going to be that great for anyone. I know Kenny Golladay is the obvious choice too, and he's going to be in a lot of DFS lineups. I'm just going to stay away from that offense.
I think carry on safe, but I am fully sitting Matthew Stafford in every league I have him in.
Yeah, and you were big on Matt Stafford all off season.
I'm still big on him as a player. He's not matchup proof.
No, and if they take away all his weapons, that's not going to be good for that offense. And it's too bad that they sold Golden Tate. That combination of Jones Jr. and Tate was great. Their wide receiver core was arguably one of the best in the NFL with Tate there, with Golladay and Jones Jr. So I don't think this gives Golladay honestly too much of an uptick myself. He had a great game last week, but I don't see him outperforming that number this week with Jones out.
No. Speaking of another offense that is losing some wide receiver pieces by the minute, the Oakland Raiders are going to be without Jordy Nelson and Martavis Bryant for Sunday's contest. Derek Carr is in a lot of trouble here. Basically got Jared Cook to throw out as well as Seth Roberts. Either of these guys to your liking?
No, that Oakland offense, that Oakland team in general, just seems like they've given up on the year. And I guess Jared Cook should get some passes. Jalen Richard should. Doug Martin's kind of a sneaky play in DFS. He's good. He's going to be under 5% owned, but he's getting more and more popular in DFS right now.
Checking into the isgrudengonyet.com report, he is still there, so no, he's not gone. His contract is set for another 9 years, 8 weeks, 5 days, 2 hours, 3 minutes, and 7 seconds. And since I've been talking, he has made $4.97. And since he's arrived, he's made $8.62 million. Just a quick report.
That's amazing. It's funny. I in one of my WhatsApp chats, I saw a message this morning saying like, "What's all these reports? What do these NFL chumps think about Lev Bell going to the New York Giants? Like, just thinking they're crazy." And I'm like,
the Giants.
All right. No, New York. Sorry,
Jets.
New York Jets.
Yeah, thank you.
Jets. And I had to respond. And normally I don't to these things. And it's like, listen, New York is a prime. Actually, let me just see if I can bring this up. It's a great sports city.
Sure.
Yeah, the Jets suck, but they have a ton of cap room. They have to compete with the market of the New York Giants with huge names in Odell Beckham and Barkley. They do have a young quarterback on a rookie tag, so they have the money to pay him. And yeah, the Oakland could pay him. This is what reminded me of this. Oakland could pay him, but why would he go to Oakland? That's an equally bad team, and they seem to not want to pay their players. So
you know who's going to be super excited when Le'Veon Bell goes to New York?
Who's that?
Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah,
he's gonna have Le'Veon Bell in Vader Sports, and he's gonna be look, we gotta sign you, we gotta get you into making better business decisions. Gary V is gonna take him under his wing and say, listen, you're gonna be a Jet for life. We're gonna take care of you. It's all gonna be good.
He's gonna probably set a reminder to tweet him every day about cool things to do in New York.
Yeah, but you're right. New York is a far better market than Oakland.
Absolutely. Even when Oakland goes to Vegas, I would still prefer New York, even though the Jets are shit. I get that, but
yeah,
they're not going to be bad for that long. They have a franchise quarterback and a pretty decent O-line and a pretty decent defense.
Yeah. The Baltimore Ravens quarterback Joe Flacco is listed as doubtful, and this is very recent news, with a hip injury. So are we firing up Lamar Jackson here, or do you think Robert Griffin III is going to make an appearance?
Lamar Jackson.
Oh, you're all in, eh?
I could just picture the face of my girlfriend after hearing me yell from downstairs in disgust. You know what? To be honest, I hope it's Lamar Jackson. I very much hope it's Lamar Jackson. But I think there's a pretty high probability that it is RG3, Robert Griffin III. I'm excited to watch this game. You know, I wasn't before.
You want to Do you want to take a shot on either of them in DraftKings?
No, I don't. They're priced the same.
Tournament play?
$4,700 each or something on DraftKings, but I'm not willing to take that chance. It's a wait and see. If they use Lamar Jackson, if he actually attempts a pass, I'll be impressed. I think, it'll be fun to watch. I hope it's Lamar. I hope he gets used as their future quarterback. But right. Where do you think that what the Ravens are going to do?
I don't think it's going to be Lamar. I think he will be brought in, almost like the Saints use like Taysom Hill. Might be on like a designed run or you set him out as a wide receiver or something like that. But I think
what they've been doing all season. Yeah.
Yeah. The bulk of the work will probably go to RG3. I hate to say it.
Yeah, I feel you. I'm leaning the same way.
All right, let's get into the matchups here.
Weekly matchups.
Sounds good. So did you pick these matchups, or did our guest host?
No, this was me.
Oh, okay.
What do you mean guest host? I am the host. I will forever be the host.
Yeah, you will.
You're damn right. At the 1 o'clock slate, we are going to feature the Cowboys and Falcons. Cowboys on the road for this one, heading into the Superdome in Atlanta. 49.5 point over-under. Falcons are a 3-point favorite, so take away home field advantage. This one is pretty much straight up. Both teams coming into this one 4-5. Who do you want to talk about first, the Cowboys or the Falcons?
So I guess we could keep it fairly short with the Cowboys. And the real question I have is, what about Dak?
What about Dak?
Is Dak actually becoming a decent start, especially against this quite susceptible Falcons defense?
In fantasy, in season-long fantasy football, absolutely not. No, I'm not starting Dak Prescott.
Not even as a streamer. He's had some pretty good weeks, actually.
No.
And he had 36 attempts last week. He had a rushing touchdown and a passing touchdown to Amari Cooper. Over 207, or he threw for 270 yards against Philadelphia, which is pretty decent. He's had some all right matchups in Atlanta. It should be a pretty good shootout. I would say he's gonna throw. Last week he actually had his season high 36 pass attempts. So over under on 35 pass attempts for Dak Prescott.
If a season high pass attempts is 36, that's not a guy that I want to stream. That's the highest he's thrown. Not completions, attempts.
Yeah.
I just feel like there's a lot better options.
There probably is. I don't. You are correct. So
the problem with me with Dallas is they are so run heavy between what Dak can do with his legs and what Zeke does. Last week he was 15 for 150. Like, it was like 10 a carry. So what Zeke can do when he can gouge you and it's working, they're not going to go ahead and throw the ball. Yes, Amari Cooper was featured, but we haven't seen Michael Gallup really take off. We haven't seen Cole Beasley have his usual slot volume. It's really come in like the fourth quarter for him the last couple games. And if you own either of those players, like Gallup or Beasley, you're a little bit disappointed with Amari Cooper coming in. But Cooper's the first target. I don't mind starting Amari Cooper. I probably would. Zeke Elliott is a must start. Dak, I would probably stay away from as a stream. I don't think I would do it.
I assumed that Cooper was actually a start because he is. I assumed for the first time this year that Amari Cooper was a start. He is a start.
He is, absolutely.
Getting those targets, like we said last week, they spent a first round pick for him, so they're going to force feed him targets and quality ones in the red zone, and it's going to be great. I'm excited for Amari Cooper this year. He's still young. He's still 24 years old. Yeah. And in a football market like Dallas is, they want the big three. They want the Dak, Zeke, Cooper. They want those faces up on the walls in Dallas.
Yeah, they want to sell those tickets.
100%. I don't mind. I know they paid up a lot for him, but I don't mind it long term.
Yeah.
Just getting the spotlight kind of off Dak a little bit and on these two other studs on the team.
Jumping over to the Atlanta side of the football, we know that we're probably going to be starting Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Tevin Coleman. I think those guys are must starts, along with Austin Hooper at the tight end position. But the questions remain for me: do you start, or I guess in this case, would you flex Calvin Ridley, Mohamed Sanu, or Ito Smith?
And I know Ito was your start of the week last week, and I love that you went out on a limb, but I tried. I can't start Ito until
the limb for me snapped last week.
It broke. Ito's a sit. He's a stash. He's a handcuff. But he has a lot of upside. So between Ridley and Sanu, I would play either one. Just based on the pass attempts alone for Matt Ryan, I would flex either one. I don't know who I'm more excited about, because Sanu has shown to produce fantasy points for us. He's a target that you kind of, as a Julio owner, you're always like, crap, Sanu got another catch, another target.
You're right.
And I think that continues this week. The Dallas has a decent offense. They have a really decent pass rush that might give Matt Ryan a little bit of pressure, but that also bodes well for guys like Sanu and Ridley getting the ball out quickly, and that's good for the slot guys. I think I don't know if it's a great week for Julio this. I mean, you have to start him, but I could see a big week for either Sanu or Ridley. Who do you like? Who do you like better? I know you like Ridley season long, but between the two, do you like Ridley or Sanu?
Oh, they're right in the same neighborhood for me. I think I'm with you. They have the same amount of upside. Their roles they aren't far too different. But my question is, who are you starting in the flex spot? Who are you starting Calvin Ridley or Mohamed Sanu over? Would you start Ridley and Sanu over Tyrell Williams from the Chargers?
Oh man, that's a great question. I might lean. I don't mind Tyrell.
Okay, I'll give you. You can simmer on that one. Would you go Ridley or Sanu over Derrick Henry?
The upside, the thing with Derrick Henry is he is getting quite a bit of goal line work. He has the touchdown upside, and that's not a great news for Dion Lewis owners. And Dion Lewis has been producing like you projected he would this year, but Derrick Henry is grinding into the end zone. So I might go Derrick Henry on upside. I think I'm leaning towards maybe Calvin Ridley because he has kind of similar touchdown upside to a Derrick Henry type. He got early on this year a ton of touchdowns, and I don't foresee that being too off the Derrick Henry upside. So I'd probably take.
Give me the answer to these ones rapid fire. Just
okay.
one worders. Calvin Ridley. For the record, I'm going to go Calvin Ridley over Mohamed Sanu this week. Okay. So this is we're going to go
Tyrell.
Yeah, I'm going to go over Tyrell as well. So are you going to go in the flex, Calvin Ridley or Allen Robinson?
I'll go Ridley. Better against a better.
One word.
Sorry. Ridley.
Shut it. Calvin Ridley or Peyton Barber?
Ridley.
Calvin Ridley or Demaryius Thomas?
DT.
Calvin Ridley or Michael Crabtree?
Ridley.
Calvin Ridley or Dante Moncrief?
Ridley.
Calvin Ridley or Theo Riddick?
I kind of like this game for Theo. I'm going Theo.
Calvin Ridley or Courtland Sutton?
Sutton.
Calvin Ridley or Royce Freeman?
Ridley.
You passed. All right. We're going to move on to the 425 game. Philadelphia Eagles visiting the New Orleans Saints. I'm excited for this one. I love watching the Saints. If I wasn't a Packers fan, I think I would have to be a Saints fan at this point over the last 2 seasons with having Ingram and Kamara on my team last year and just watching a ton of games, and I didn't want to watch the Brett Hundley disaster. So, the Eagles come into this one 4-5 on the road. It's a 56-point over/under. Saints favored by 7.5. They are 8-1. I'm going to start on the New Orleans side of the ball just because I love them. Soft spot in my heart for the Saints. You got to start all your big boys. Drew Brees, Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara. Mark Ingram absolutely is a start this week.
Is he a part of those big boys?
He is a part of the big boys. And I'm going to talk I'm going to talk about him a little bit later. And that's a hint. But Mark Ingram to me is, I understand what the argument is against Mark Ingram. He's not getting the workload that Alvin Kamara is getting, and we understood that coming into the year, but he doesn't need a workload to be effective. You know, he needs one play, like you saw last week, one play for a touchdown, and it's over. Alvin Kamara could have 150 all-purpose yards and not get into the end zone and still give you a great game, and Mark Ingram could vulture 2 goal line touchdowns, and they could both be very serviceable for your team. So Mark Ingram, to me, because the opportunity for New Orleans is so high, scoring like 45, 50 points a week over the last 2 weeks, he just has so much exposure to scoring. And so that's what you want for any fantasy player. And Mark Ingram gets that with this team. Now, where my start-sit questions sort of lie on this team is when you look at guys like Traquan Smith or Ben Watson. Are either of those guys you want to roll out this week against the Philadelphia Eagles?
Based on the 56-point over-under, I could see a world where you can flex Traquan Smith. Mm-hmm. However, he got you that donut last week. He wasn't even looked at. I don't know if he was targeted last week. I'll vet that quickly. But he is a boom bust play. If I can avoid it, I am not playing Traquan Smith. And the only hesitancy I have is that the Philadelphia Eagles has given up has been so susceptible to wide receivers, and Jalen Mills is out. So right. That might be actually better for the Eagles. I don't know. I don't have confidence in Jalen Mills based on how he's played this year. But, man, yeah, it could be a Traquan game. Jeez, but the Mark Ingram thing. I mean, I get your argument, but it's fairly high risk. The offense, like you said, the offense goes through.
Is it though? I don't think it is.
Yeah, again, the high over on you chase those points, chase those 56 points.
Like I like Mark Ingram this week over Joe Mixon, over Alex Collins. Even over like Phillip Lindsay. Yeah. I mean, touchdown upside. I think touchdown upside is massive.
Yeah. Philadelphia is a pretty good defense, but they're gonna have to play everyone. They're not gonna be able to play the.
Listen, we thought that the Rams, their offense was so good, and that their defense was way better than the Saints defense. And we thought, hey, the Rams might have a fighting chance here to knock New Orleans off and show that they're the best team in the NFC. And what happened in that game?
Yeah.
The Saints offense is so powerful.
Yeah. If you're going for an upside play, I don't mind Traquan Smith.
I like Ben Watson over Traquan Smith.
Yeah. The targets are more reliable that way.
Honestly.
So far.
Yeah.
Let's
jump over to the Philly side of the ball.
Oh, before we move on, who do you have winning the Falcons-Cowboys game? Who do you like in that matchup?
Falcons
at home?
Yeah. I'll take the favorite.
And I actually think Philadelphia makes this closer than the 7.5 points. So we're going to start our studs. You're going to start Zach Ertz. You're going to start Carson Wentz. You're going to start Alshon Jeffrey.
Yes.
The question is these two other wide receivers and the running backs for Philadelphia. So Golden Tate has another week in the system. He is arguably one of the best slot receivers in the league, and Philadelphia traded for him.
Yes.
But he only played like 29% of the snaps, and Nelson Aguilar played, I think, 89 or low 90s% of snaps last week.
Golden Tate only played like 25%, hey?
Yeah, I said 29.
29, sorry. 29. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
So where do you see these guys? Do you play either of them? Because you have a high over-under, I think it's going to be closer than the 7.5 points. It's not all going to go through Zach Ertz, even though it sometimes feels that way.
Oh, God, I hope it does. I hope it does. Last week was a dream for fantasy.
Yes, it was.
I'm with you. There's no way that they would acquire Golden Tate and not feature him more. It's just last week was a product of easing him into the offense and getting him acclimatized to what they do. And 29% of snaps, or 25, whatever it was, is going to be an anomaly for Golden Tate. He's going to be up as soon as he gets as soon as his knowledge and understanding of the offense improves. He's going to be up in the 70-80% range. And I would assume that Nelson Aguilar would take a step back and Golden Tate would take a step forward. So if I had to put money on either guy right now, it would probably be Golden Tate, just because I think he's a far superior receiver to Nelson Aguilar. But I do expect that Zach Ertz still has a huge command on this target share. And Alshon Jeffrey should be all right as well. But I would go Tate in the flex and nothing further.
I don't blame you there. I'm going to stay away from Aguilar. He got that big bomb of a catch last week, and that sure helped his fantasy performance. But if it wasn't for that, he had an underwhelming game.
So you think Saints win?
I think,
but you think it's closer than
Saints,
7.5?
Correct.
Okay, I'm gonna say that the Saints do exactly what they did to the Rams. I don't think the Eagles can score the ball as much as they would like to. They struggled a little bit last week against Dallas. I think I'm going to go Saints by 10 or more. I think this is going to be a comfy win for the Saints.
Yeah. There's a part of me that hopes the Eagles kind of come out and show why they're the champions and actually beat the Saints this week.
Yeah.
I think they're going to beat them straight up. If I was a high risk money guy, I would maybe take the Eagles straight up.
Okay. Let's jump to the 8 o'clock game.
Any running backs before are you going to start the...
No Smallwood, no Adams, no Clement, no.
Okay.
No. The 8:20 game, the night game, Sunday Night Football features the Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Bears, the NFC North battle between the two divisional leaders. Green Bay at this point is 2 games back of a wild card spot at this point. They're looking to probably miss the playoffs. Vikings 5-3-1, Chicago Bears 6-3. Bears come in as a 2.5 point favorite at home, and the over/under on this one is 44.5. We would assume on the Minnesota side of the ball, you would start Kirk Cousins, Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen, and Dalvin Cook.
I don't know if all that is assumed now. Kirk Cousins has not been good for fantasy, and he plays a really tough and stout Chicago Bears defense.
Right.
I think he's going to be on a lot of benches.
Okay.
But as for Adam Thielen, you got to play Thielen.
Yeah, Thielen for sure.
If you're a Dalvin Cook owner, you've been waiting for him to come back. You saw him post the fastest speed of any running back this season right after he's coming back from a hamstring injury. So
right.
you're not gonna feel great about it, but Dalvin Cook is gonna be a start, and you just hope that he doesn't get a touchdown ball straight away from him.
Right. I would expect that this is the week that Dalvin Cook takes a step forward and leaves the other guys in the dust that have been taking over his backfield. I think this is where Dalvin Cook says, this is why you drafted me so high. This is why I'm one of the best talents at the running back position in the league, and I'm here to stay for the playoffs. Because the Vikings want to make that playoff push. Dalvin's going to be a big part of that, and I think that Diggs also makes his return to the lineup in a big way as well.
Yeah, this is a statement game for the Minnesota Vikings. They need to beat Chicago. They've got a tough battle ahead. That defense is great. Khalil Mack is elite, and you can risk on Cousins based on the fantasy points that we project for everyone else. Mm-hmm. But I don't feel great about it.
No.
I think this is a must-win game for Minnesota. Must win.
And I think that they are going to get it done.
Yeah, I hope so.
I think in a primetime game, Trubisky's shown that at times he can be very hesitant to move the ball downfield. If that running game doesn't get going, the field is going to get a hell of a lot longer with the shorter throws over the middle. You're going to look to guys on the Chicago side like Allen Robinson to have another big game, Anthony Miller to continue to produce, Trey Burton to find himself over the middle and get some separation and take possession of the ball as much as he can. But I fear for the Chicago Bears offense just a little bit. We know how good the Vikings can be. They've looked better as of late, sort of rounding into form, if you will. This matchup has the tendency to be a very defensive-minded game, but I think with the success of these teams recently, you have to start a lot of these players in your lineups because they've given you reason to do so. And even in a defensive game, I think you have to take a shot on some of these guys.
That's the thing. You've almost been more excited about the Chicago Bears fantasy players than the Minnesota Vikings,
which is crazy.
Jordan Howard and Tariq Cohen, are they? I don't really want to start either one if I can help it.
I would be okay flexing Tariq Cohen. I would stay away from Jordan Howard this week, though.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
And are you going to start just because Allen Robinson had that big game on your bench? Is he going to disappoint this week?
This, to me, for Allen Robinson, feels like a trap game. And I think you're being lured into that big game. And I said last week, like, Allen Robinson needs to earn a spot on my roster. He did, but I still think I'm going to sit him down, man. I really just feel like this is a trap game.
I completely agree. And that may be me being a Vikings fan, but I think you're right. I think Trey Burton is safe. Like what happened when it was weeks ago, we talked about the linebackers for the Vikings just not keeping up, and I think Trey Burton is one of those guys.
No, I think that's a great point. I like Trey Burton this week. I would roll him out in a couple contests with some confidence.
Starts of the week.
Let's kick it off with our starts of the week. Landon, why don't you start with your quarterback this week?
My quarterback has been a quarterback that no one has wanted to play early on the season. He has let you down if you took him late in drafts, but that is Marcus Mariota. He is actually starting to get healthy and is looking pretty good. His weapons, like Corey Davis, are starting to show out. He's got the Dion Lewis and the Derrick Henry combo behind him, and Tennessee as a team is actually playing pretty good. They've surprised everyone this year. They actually beat New England last week and really showed out that they should be considered a playoff team. Whether they're the smokescreen of the NFL, that's yet to be determined. But I think in this game where Andrew Luck, and you're going to talk about him in a second, could throw a lot and put up some points on the defense, I think it's going to be a shootout. And it's going to be a close game, so Mariota's going to be looking to keep throwing the ball. He's got a pretty decent rushing floor. He could rush himself in for a touchdown, and that's why he is my start of the week at quarterback. And it really has to do with his health.
Yeah. All right, at the quarterback position, I'm going to hit you with Andrew Luck, like Landon alluded to.
Yeah.
He's going against Tennessee this week. And Tennessee's defense has been a little bit stingy lately. They've been on fire. They beat New England last week. But Andrew Luck's been doing really well himself. In 6 straight contests, he's had 26 fantasy points or better. And one thing you need to know about this offensive line for the Colts right now is that they've been nothing but rock solid, not giving up a sack in 19 quarters and counting. So that's great when a quarterback can get protection. That is a pocket passer like Andrew Luck is. When you give him that kind of time and comfort, he's able to do really good things. So if that continues, Andrew Luck is going to be locked and loaded to be a great start of the week at the quarterback position.
Cool. Yeah, I like that a lot. I have him starting in a couple places, and he's absolutely killing it. His volume alone is just getting the work done.
Yeah. At the running.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. At the running back position, I'm going to go in with my man from Denver, Phillip Lindsay, against the Los Angeles Chargers. Phillip Lindsay, a lot of people have been expecting this sort of star run to fade off, to come to an end, and I don't think it comes to an end this week. I think he continues his solid play. He scored 10 or more points per game in every contest this year in a half point per reception scoring league, and the only week that he didn't do more than 10 points was in week 3, and he ended up getting ejected from this game for throwing a punch. So I don't really even count this one. So every single game that he's played, he's been 10 points or better, never crapped your team. Really, really safe guy. And if it wasn't for James Conner taking over Le'Veon Bell's role, I think Phillip Lindsay would be the running back that we'd be talking about as the best waiver wire pickup this year. So I think Phillip Lindsay continues to get things done against a Chargers defense that has been pretty good, but Lindsay's everywhere. He's in the run game, he's in the passing game. He is the feature back for this team, and I don't think that Royce Freeman coming back hurts him at all.
Yeah, my running back start of the week is Alex Collins. And this is two things. One, they're playing Cincinnati, and they've been giving up the second most rushing yards or points for the running back in the league. Cincinnati is, I feel like as soon as AJ Green went down, it's like all the air came out of the balloon of Cincinnati.
Right.
Their whole offense isn't playing very well. Their defense is not looking as good as they used to, and this bodes well for Alex Collins. The next reason why I'm picking him as my start of the week is that he will benefit from whomever is at quarterback. He's going to benefit from RG3 or Lamar Jackson. When there's when there's a quarterback that threatens to rush the football, the running back itself will get more work. It's funny, you don't think that way because you think the quarterback's going to get the rush yards, but in reality, it opens things up. The linebackers are going to have to play the quarterback more. All these bootlegs, all the play action, the option plays, they're going to have to stay honest when you have two quarterbacks that have elite rushing capabilities. I know Kenneth Dixon is set to return. I don't think he plays in this game. They haven't schemed in Ty Montgomery at all. I think Alex Collins gets all the work, and it's a great matchup right now against Cincinnati. And really, he's put up points, but it's mostly been touchdowns. He hasn't scored. He hasn't had very many yards. His most rushing yards is 68 on the year, but that was on 18 attempts. His yards per carry is not good, but I've never liked Alex Collins, but I think this week is a smash play.
Yeah, I'm staying away from Alex Collins personally, but I see where you're coming from. I get the argument.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. At the wide receiver position, I'm going to start a guy that I never thought in my wildest dreams this year that I would be featuring as a start of the week. But for the Dallas Cowboys, I'm going to roll out Amari Cooper against the Atlanta Falcons. What I like about Amari Cooper right now in his situation, I know he's not in a very pass-heavy offense. Dak Prescott is one of the worst in the league at 208 passing yards per game. But Amari Cooper, since joining the Dallas Cowboys, has been featured like we want him to be. He's been a consistent target for Dak Prescott. He gets to play a very poor Atlanta secondary, and since coming to the Cowboys, Amari Cooper's had 18 targets in the last 2 games. That's 9 per game on average. For the first 7 games of the year, he was with the Oakland Raiders. Saw only 38 targets over 7 games. That's about 5.5 a game. So a huge increase in targets and opportunity for Amari Cooper. I think that continues in a dream matchup against the Falcons, and I would have full confidence starting Amari Cooper this week.
Yep, cool. I like it. My wide receiver start of the week is Courtland Sutton.
You're doing it.
I am the resident hype machine for all rookies in the NFL, and I'm going to keep it going with Courtland Sutton. Everyone was pumped out about him because of the Demaryius Thomas leave, and he disappointed everyone. That is why we're going to stick to our guns. We're going to do it because just because we missed 1 week doesn't mean we're wrong. And I'm going to keep with that. They had a bye week. They're going to get him more integrated. He's a very, very talented wide receiver. I think he's one of my favorite rookie wide receivers in this class. And this will be his coming out show. It should be a good matchup against the Chargers. Joey Bosa is back, and that'll put a little more pressure on Case Keenum. But that hopefully bodes well for Courtland Sutton. He's a big target, and he is the future of that organization. I think they're going to get him that bump in targets.
What I think you should do is just make Courtland Sutton your start of the week for every week until he breaks out.
Next mid-season. Courtland Sutton.
Right. We'll have a drop for it.
Yeah.
My tight end start of the week is going to be from the Philadelphia Eagles, Zach Ertz.
Yeah, right.
Imagine you could do that. That'd be
Dallas
amazing.
Goedert.
No, I'm gonna go with Ricky Seals-Jones from the Arizona Cardinals. He's playing the Oakland Raiders this week. What I like about RSJ is that he saw the second most targets when they played against the Chiefs last week. Tied for second most targets with 9 with David Johnson. Leading the team was 10 Larry Fitzgerald. So I like the involvement, the opportunity for RSJ. I think this Arizona team with a better set of play calling and offensive coordinating, I think that they have a chance to maybe score some points in this game. And along with Fitzgerald, Johnson, I think Ricky Seals-Jones will be that option that gets into the end zone. And the Raiders are among one of the worst defenses against the tight end position in the league. They are 5th from the bottom. So I think a really good matchup for Ricky Seals-Jones, and he'll probably be on your waiver wire, so you could scoop him up and plug him in if you need a tight play.
Start anyone against Oakland. That is the rule of the year.
Yep.
I will go with rule number 2 of the year. Start anyone against Tampa Bay. I am going with Evan Ingram. It took him a half to get him going last week, but it was a huge win for the New York Giants. Like I said, their win bodes well for every fantasy player on the New York Giants, even Eli Manning, if you're that risk averse, so that's why Evan Ingram's my start of the week. He's finally getting more involved. He's going to be a pass catcher. He's not going to be a touchdown guy. He's going to be a volume receiver, and if he gets in the end zone, that is just a bonus. What can I say against Tampa Bay? You're just going to start all your players. This is a great game stack if you want to be fun with that. Play both sides of the ball. And that's basically all I have to say about Evan Ingram. He showed out last year. He had one of the best yards per reception for tight ends. It's not doing the same thing this year, but I feel confident against Tampa Bay.
All right, Landon, what I want you to do right now is get open that iPhone, go to that DraftKings app. Let's get the showdown underway.
The showdown.
The DraftKings showdown. So if you're a new listener, welcome in. This is a segment that we do for DFS, Daily Fantasy Sports. If you don't play DFS, you should consider, but if you don't, you can just go ahead and turn us off right now. But we've been pretty good on our
sponsorship. We are not sponsored by DraftKings.
We've been doing pretty well on our DraftKings showdown. The way that this little contest works is we basically go continuous draft back and forth. We can jump around from position to position as long as one player is taken, the other can't have them. And so we have 2 completely different lineups featuring players that we like. This week in GPP plays, bigger tournament plays, not your cash game plays.
Yeah,
and
even though we're playing each other, we're not playing each other. These are tournament lineups. These are risky plays. It's not a cash play. We could play easy, safe guys against each other, and I might have a chance of winning for once. But we're playing a tournament.
Landon is the self-proclaimed DFS expert, and every single DK showdown I have wiped the floor with him. We actually had one lineup a couple weeks ago that was one player away, like 25 points away from a $100,000 prize. So we've been doing all right. So I'm looking to continue the momentum, just continue Mack and Landon around.
Expose him! Expose him!
And, just out of sympathy, I'm going to give you the first pick, Landon.
Oh, no, I had the first pick last week. This is your turn. We're going to go fair.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go for the absolute value play here at the running back position. I just don't want him to go. And I think when you look at the running back position, you could spend up in a lot of places. Melvin Gordon, Saquon Barkley, Zeke Elliott, Alvin Kamara. I'm going to take the compliment to Alvin Kamara at $4,700, Mark Ingram. And I think at this price tag, you don't need a whole lot out of Mark Ingram than just a vulture touchdown. And I think he has the ability to get multiple in this game. So Mark Ingram, $4,700. Let's start cheap. Let's book it.
Putting your money where your mouth is, Mac. I like that.
Bang.
I respect that. I'm going to take one of the other values, not quite a value like you go with, but he was my start of the week, or he was one of the lock plays of the week last week. I'm going David Johnson at $7,500 against Oakland. Start your players against Oakland.
That is a beautiful play. I'm going to stay with the Cardinals, and I'm going to pay up for that defense against the poor, very depleted Oakland Raiders. I'm going to take the Arizona Cardinals at $3,100.
Interesting. I'm going to go... Man, where do I go from here? This is tough.
Got you on the ropes already, boy.
Dang, I might go tight end, I guess.
Oh, tight end.
Going down to the depths of the tight end. Man, the thing is, Zach Ertz is such a lock, but he's $6,600. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna pay up for Zach Ertz. I'm going Zach Ertz.
Oh my God, if there was a video, I would show the people watching. I have Zach Ertz clicked on and ready to draft. You son of a gun.
I'm limiting myself at other positions, but Zach Ertz is the chalk play here.
You are right. All right, I'm going to go with a guy that we are featuring on today's podcast artwork on Instagram. I'm going to go in a very juicy matchup. Cam Newton against the Lions at 6,200.
Yeah, I got to go cheap at quarterback. I'm actually going to go with Eli Manning at $5,200 against Tampa Bay.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah, I need to save money there.
Gross.
You got to go with that matchup.
Oh, that's gross.
I know.
You know what? I'm gonna follow. I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is again in the starts of the week. I'm gonna go Ricky Seals-Jones at the tight end position, $2,900. Cheap.
That's gonna be someone's gonna get the work there in Arizona, and hopefully, I like Ricky Seals-Jones. I think he's a good play. I've got him in a couple other DFS lineups. I'm gonna stack my Eli Manning. I just don't know if I want to do it with Barkley or if I want to do it with Odell Beckham Jr. I'm going to go with the cheaper option. I'm going Odell Beckham Jr.
And that's beautiful because I am going to spend up at the running back position and get myself some Saquon Barkley this week.
Yeah, good call.
8,700. It's a lot to pay, but Tampa Bay sucks, and I need a part of that that matchup. So I'm glad you went with the Manning Beckham stack. I think that's going to be very popular this week, but I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go Barkley.
All right, let's see here. I need to spend down at defense to save myself some kishish. I'm going to go with I like Pittsburgh D. I like the Texans. I'm going the Texans, $2,600 against Washington.
Yeah. I'm looking at my lineup right now. I've got 4 spots left, $24,400. I think if I can get one guy to produce that's really cheap, that I have a really good chance, I think, of making some money this week. So I've never picked a guy where you're only spending $3,000. But I think with the absence of Jordy Nelson and Martavis Bryant for the Oakland Raiders, I'm gonna go Seth Roberts at $3,000.
Oh my goodness!
And he could get me a donut. I understand this, but I think I'm gonna take the shot.
But you're preparing for the future on your team. You need someone cheap.
Yeah, so putting him in, I've got $7,133 per player left, and I've got 2 wide receivers and a flex left.
Right.
It's a good spot to be in.
I gotta go cheap as well. Just how low do I go? I've got a bunch of studs on my team, so I need to really spend down. I just don't know where I can do it. I don't like all these $3,000 guys. You probably picked one of the few guys that actually has a decent amount of upside.
That's why I might be the new DFS master.
It's true. You might take that crown away from me.
What are we even gonna have you on the podcast for anymore?
I'm a rookie overhype guy.
I think my job this week is to maybe put a little post on Indeed and replace you.
Sounds good. I can't wait next week to hear who you got. Foreshadowing. Let's see. Okay, I can't go that cheap. The cheapest place I could go is at, you know what? Maybe Curtis Samuel at $3,700 against Detroit. We've seen his upside. He's a great yak guy, yards after catch guy. He's just he's so cheap at $3,700. I don't love it, but Darius Slay should be back for Detroit, and that leaves other guys besides Funchess open.
Right. I like it.
It's great.
I'm going to continue to go for value. And Keenan Allen this week is a value at $6,700. Playing the Denver Broncos defense, maybe not the greatest matchup, but with the value on him right now, I think you have to take him. 6,700.
Nice. I'm gonna make this quick. I'm going Alex Collins. Stick to my start of the week at $4,400. It's really cheap, and that's what I need at this point.
I don't hate it. I went Cam Newton, and I don't have any other Panthers. I could have went Olsen. I don't want to go Funchess. I got $7,350 per player left. I'm going to spend up $8,000 and get myself some Christian McCaffrey.
All right. Christian McCaffrey. My last wide receiver. You know what? Here's the tournament play I was going to talk to you about before is a stud that is priced way down, and he has really killed your fantasy team the past couple weeks. But that's why you play him in tournaments, because everyone's going to be off of him. So I've got the stud Odell Beckham on one side of the ball. I'm going to go with Mike Evans on the other side of the ball. And it's a high risk.
Okay.
I don't even like Mike Evans, but in tournaments, he's a good play because he has those boom games. And I'm basically hoping that happens this week.
Okay. I've got $6,700 left. I wish I had $100 more to get Juju Smith-Schuster, even in a bad matchup against the Jaguars. There's just too many guys in that Pittsburgh team to cover, but I'm going to have to spend down Alshon Jeffrey, $6,300. I'll have $400 left over, but I feel pretty good about this lineup.
All right, so I only have $4,300 left. That does not leave me any good options. My best bet is a tight end, either Eric Ebron or Jack Doyle, both tight ends for the Indianapolis Colts. Last week was an Ebron game, and that would have paid out if I would have picked him. Josh Doxson's there, Evan Ingram's there. Evan Ingram's my start of the week, but I already have Odell Beckham Jr., so you know what? I've got Eli, so I'm gonna go with Evan Ingram and get that mega stack with 3.
The tri-stack.
Yeah.
So holy.
I'm gonna go that way. I've got 3 giant players and I have $200 left. This will be the matchup that we play against, but I might tweak this lineup so that it's not playing a tight end at my flex.
So I've got Cam Newton, Saquon Barkley, Mark Ingram, Keenan Allen, Alshon Jeffrey, Seth Roberts, Ricky Seals-Jones, Christian McCaffrey in the flex, and Cardinals defense. $400 remaining on my salary. What I'm going to do is I'm going to submit this lineup right now, but I'm also going to submit a couple other lineups with most of these players there, and I'm just going to switch some players out because I've been doing this lately, putting 4 or 5 entries into these small $1.2 million, $3 entry plays, and making money by just sticking to my guns, but
strategy.
switching out some guys. Yeah. So even though we're spending $18 on the week on some entries, we're getting more back. So not a bad play.
Yep, I've got Eli Manning, Alex Collins, David Johnson, Odell Beckham Jr., Mike Evans, Curtis Samuel, Zach Ertz, Evan Ingram, and Texans defense. I like all the studs I have. I've got a couple flyers, but overall, I like the lineup as well.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us today. We hope that you guys enjoyed the episode. Make sure that you are following us on Instagram at Saturday Morning Snap. You can hit us up on Twitter, Landon_SMS, Mack_SMS. You can also join our Sleeper channel. The link will be in the episode description if you're on Apple Podcasts. And if you've made it this far, we got a little bit of news for you. Lando, you wanna drop it on them?
Big news coming. If you want to drop it on there, we probably only have one listener that's still listening. So that guy.
Shout out my boy Taylor.
We would like to announce a new host coming to the podcast, some changes coming to the podcast. My man Marky is going to join us. We're going to switch things up, maybe get things a little more casual. He will add a lot of insight. He's quite the linguist. He's going to give us some fantasy advice, but mostly it's just going to be for a good time. We're excited to have him on the podcast. And yeah, some changes are coming, guys.
I'm excited. It's, we're going Three Musketeers style. And, I'm excited for next week. There will be no Wednesday episode. We're just going to do Saturdays from now on. And hopefully you guys like the change to the podcast. So we'll see you guys next Saturday. Hit us up on Sunday for our AMA. And we'll see you then.
Cool. Have a good weekend, Mac.
All right, buddy. You too.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Saturday Morning Snap Fantasy Football Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Mac_SMS and Landon_SMS. Support this independent podcast at patreon.com/SaturdayMorningSnap.